Welcome back to the Football Terrace. Hit that like button, hit that share button, subscribe, and sign up to our Discord server right now. The links are all in the description below. Big week for Chelsea. Historic game tomorrow night. First time ever, I believe, in a major European competition up against Real Madrid. The season is ending impeccably well for Chelsea. There is no doubt about that whatsoever. FA Cup final, on course for a top 4 position. And for me, I think they have a tremendous opportunity of lifting the European Cup. No doubt about it at all. The scary factor here for rival fans is thus, they look like they're going to have an epic summer as well. Raphael Varane, top of their wish list. It looks as though, again, more reports coming out of Spain today, that Raphael Varane looks a certainty to leave Real Madrid this summer, and Chelsea are leading that race ahead of Manchester United and Paris Saint-Germain. Thomas Tuchel being a huge part of the pulling power here for Chelsea. And on top of that, this morning, a respected journalist, Julien Laurent of ESPN, told the Chelsea podcast Byline that Declan Rice is probably ahead of all other summer transfer targets. And we know how hard Chelsea are pushing to try and land Haaland. We know how hard they're trying to now land Raphael Varane. They were also working very, very hard on Jules Koundé, which could still happen if the deal for Raphael Varane falls through. But Declan Rice is reportedly top of the tree. He's a major target for Thomas Tuchel and Chelsea this summer, and he is seen as the long-term replacement of N'Golo Kanté in the middle. Of course, he came through the Chelsea ranks. He's very close in terms of a friendship with Mason Mount, who many believe will go on to be the Chelsea captain. And Chelsea themselves look like they're trying to create a new core, a new group of players that are not only great together on the field of play, but also have close relationships off of it. And the feel-good factor, the togetherness, the quality of football at Chelsea right now is absolutely phenomenal. There is no doubt about that. And should the likes of Raphael Varane and Declan Rice arrive at Chelsea this summer, they are 110% challenging Manchester City for a title next year. I don't think that can be denounced or played down or debunked by anybody. The squad will be elite. The squad will have depth, and the quality of manager, both tactically and from a man management point of view, will be absolutely fantastic. There is zero doubt about that at all in my mind. But I do want your opinions. I want to know what you think and feel about these stories. As well as hitting the like and share button, sharing this on your social media platforms. We want you to give your opinions, get your comments in, get your super chats in. We also want you to phone into the show. We're going to share the link very, very soon as well. Hang on a second. We beat Real Madrid in a final before Roman came in, took over with Zola scoring the winner. That wasn't in the Champions League. When I said major, I kind of meant Champions League. I should have said Champions League, but there we go. I think it's the first time we played them in the Champions League. I know you may have played them in minor or smaller European trophies in the past, but I hear you on that one. I thought it was just the Champions League that I read. Remember, we are live tonight at 5:30. Great lineup for the Chelsea Real Madrid preview, so make sure you're here with the Football Terrace for that. Chelsea fan for life here says, love your show. Thank you. I appreciate that. Chelsea 20, CFC 20, says Varane is overrated. I don't quite know where that's come from. I do hear that from a lot of people, to be fair, and I was kind of bought into that idea. I heard a lot of people on social say that he was overrated, and that kind of changed my view on him a bit. Overrated, maybe I don't want him at Man United. And then you listen to people that watch him regularly, most say he's not. Man like Indiana here says, if Varane and Rice end up at Chelsea, putting them as favourites next season, United are done. Get these clowns out of my club. You can see the frustration building amongst Man United fans, especially when they see Chelsea linked with these players. Liverpool have already signed kounde. Some people are doubting it, but I have an horrible feeling it's going to work out well for Liverpool, or a good feeling for Liverpool fans, a bad feeling for Man United fans. City are uncatchable for Man United under Ollie unless they have a bad season. The only way we're finishing in front of any of those 3 teams I mentioned next year is if they have bad seasons. So big work needs to be done. Hello, Terry. When will be the City PSG preview? That will be Tuesday at 5:30. So we'll do that the following day. Yeah, that's what we always do. And then we'll be previewing same time on Wednesday, we'll be previewing the Europa League semi-finals. And then the same time on the Friday, we'll be previewing Manchester United versus Liverpool. That's pretty much our 5 to 5:30 shows this week have been pretty much picked for us because of all the games this week. So that's what we will be doing. Let's go to some more of these comments here. Okay, Spotify owner to... Yeah, we spoke about that this morning. Go check out our morning stream. We spoke all about the takeover at Arsenal. You can go check it out there. iTest says, Hazard looked dangerous last game. I think he could carry Madrid to the Champions League final. Well, let's see if he can. We'll talk about that more tonight on the preview. I'm sure you're going to be there. iTest to phone in and have your say on that one. Comment here says, haven't seen Varane that often, but he's a World Cup winner and serial Champions League winner. Would be buzzing if we had him at the club. I'm sure you would. Why would you not be? That's the big thing here. Why would you not be buzzing? And I think Declan Rice last summer, I think people's opinion has changed on him since then. I felt last summer there was an element of, do we really want him? Is he really good enough? Is he really a Chelsea player in terms of quality? Is it just Lampard that wants him because he's British, because he's English, because he's got a bit of Chelsea blood in him? I think a lot of people have focused on Declan Rice's football this season. That and West Ham seemingly being in this top 4 race has really changed people's opinions of him. I see more and more fans wanting him at their football club. And Chelsea just have I think if Chelsea go in for him, he'll pick Chelsea over anybody else if Chelsea make a serious attempt to buy him because of his history, because he's a supporter, because of who he's friends with. I think that does play a huge, huge part here. And I'm majorly worried about it. The Undertaker CFC says Chelsea will not pay 80 million for Rice. Will pay 40 to 50 million. And maybe that's all that's going to be needed to sign him. You've got players. A lot of Man United fans are excited because there's this concept that Jesse Lingard could lower the price. This is fundamentally true. Jesse Lingard could lower the price. But Tammy Abraham could lower the price for Chelsea. Tammy Abraham to West Ham is a fantastic bit of business for everybody involved, all parties. And it could be used as a make weight. You've got a number of players at Chelsea when you start going through your squad that could do bits at West Ham. You could even do a bit of we'll give you Tammy as a permanent, and we'll give you Billy Gilmore on loan for a year, and we take Declan Rice back. There are multiple options there. There's no doubt about it at all, instead of paying full money. Julian Nagelsmann is going to be the next Bayern Munich manager. Yeah, I did see it. We'll be covering that a little bit later. I just run out of time, really, to do videos on every single subject matter. But yes, Julian Nagelsmann will be the Bayern Munich manager. It looks very much set in stone. And I'm really happy for him that he's been given this gargantuan chance now. Will it come a little bit too soon? That's going to be the question. Has it come a little bit too soon for him? We will see. We will see. Let's do some more of these comments here. Some of you, I love how some of you talk to yourself. I start reading your comment thinking, is it something about what we're speaking about? And then it's you guys fighting. I love it. Terry, would you like Jesse to go back to United, or does he need to move on? I think he needs to move on. I'm really fond of Jesse Lingard as a person. Think whenever I see him in an interview, whenever I kind of see him talking outside of football, I think he's great. As a footballer, he's been brilliant at West Ham. But I don't think he can do it in a team that plays primarily up against low blocks, teams sitting behind the ball. I think he's suited to West Ham because teams open up and he has an extra few yards of space. He has a few more seconds on the ball. And that extra time is what elevates him from being, I think, an average player at a proper top 6 club and a very good player at a team just below that echelon. And I also think the same thing will happen to Tammy Abraham. If he goes to a West Ham, Tammy will drop down and he might start scoring goals, and you'll get this sort of initial knee-jerk reaction that will say, why do we get rid of him? He's scoring these goals. He's great. But you won't be taking into consideration why he's scoring the goals. Context is very, very key when it comes to assessing football players. Man, like Donny Rovers for Life fan here. Aaron says, hi, Terry. Cannot wait for the link I'm very happy today because John Taylor signed a new 3-year deal at Doncaster. Oh, that's great. Well done. I love this kid. I love this kid. Honestly, I think you're great. You make me die, bro. You make me die. You're hilarious, legit, and I mean that with. I'm being genuine, you know. I'm being legitimately genuine. DJ here says, Terry, did you see Thomas Tuchel and Pulisic press conference? The crap that was asked by a journalist. I don't really watch press conferences. I find them monotonous. The questions are boring. The questions are predictable. 99.9% of all answers are pre-rehearsed. There's no nuance. It's boring. It's boring. You know what's interesting? I don't even watch, if Sky Sports interview Anthony Joshua, Eddie Hearn, like ESPN, whenever I see like fighters interviewed, I don't watch it. I go and watch IFL or Fight Hub because I feel that it's pure. I feel that it's pure. I feel that it is real and genuine and potent. And for me, that's the bit that kind of winds me up a little bit about the sort of press conferences. It's just bland. Honestly, bland rice. Imagine like rice overcooked by like an hour and no sauce. Just dry. Sticks in the back of your throat. Nasty. Don't watch them. Honestly, press conferences are the biggest waste. Just think about it. You listen to a press conference for an hour. You have wasted an hour of your life on earth. Wasted. You don't learn anything. You don't learn anything that you can't read in 30 seconds. All I care about is who's fit, who's out, who's not, who's injured, who's fit. It's the only bit of information I care about in these press conferences. Every now and then there's a big situation going on, so you want to hear from someone. But outside of that, no interest. Tammy and Ross to West Ham. Ross Barkley. Right. To West Ham with Declan to Chelsea. Yeah, I mean, that could work. I forgot Ross Barkley was still on your play. Has he not moved? Is he not permanent at Villa? I thought he was a permanent Villa, but there we go. A few people asking about my thoughts on the Hall of Fame. We'll be covering that in the preview tonight. Once we've previewed the Champions League game, that's going to be one of our discussion points, and we'll go into that in a bit more detail. But I will say this. I understand why Henry and Shearer have been picked, but I can't for the life of me understand why one of the first two people in and haven't been plucked from a team that won 13 Premier League titles, that dominated. I think, honestly, Lampard, Terry, I know they've got to have retired, so City's a little bit harder. I don't actually, I need to check and research this when the retirement cutoff point was. But I do feel like Scholes, and I feel like Lampard, and I feel like Terry are bigger shouts. I would have, if it wasn't for what was going on with Ryan Giggs right now, he for me should be number one. But yeah, we'll see what happens. You know, I think it's important to look at individual brilliance, but what did they also do and achieve team-wise? And I get why they're both in. I'm not like bitter about it, but we're discussing that tonight in more detail. So get yourselves, make sure you're watching the preview show tonight. That'll be in the second half of that show. Drifty's agent, Mr. Clean, says, do you think Liverpool signing who? Malin for 25, Buendia or St. Maximin for 32, Sancho for 90, Konate could back for 50, for 230 million is realistic if Salah is sold? Potentially. I mean, you're going to have to spend that much money. You're going to have to sell someone. But I don't understand why Liverpool fans keep focusing on selling Mo Salah. Mo Salah is your best. Mo Salah is your best ever player in the Premier League era. I just don't understand why so many of you just look at him as the fall guy. Yeah, we'll get rid of him. Mane, Firmino, Henderson, all of these players have to go before him. He is your best ever Premier League player. Point blank. Goals, consistency, Champions League winner, league title winner. Find me a player at Liverpool that's done that. That scored, been as consistent, and won the two biggest trophies in the world for your club in the Premier League era. Find them and I'll wait. No one's done that. Not one. in terms of individual like preferences, Suarez may have been a better striker. Didn't have a better Liverpool career. Gerrard might have had more longevity. Didn't have a better Liverpool career. Hasn't had it. Won the Champions League, no Prem. Mo Salah, your best ever. Why do you want to sell him? It's a madness for me. Absolute madness. Excuse me for coughing. Still getting over this cold that I had. I'm going to share your link now for you to come on and have your say. I'm going to post the link now. Once last week, I actually remembered to do it ahead of time. And that was it. So I think I'm just going to have to accept the fact that I'm not going to post it ahead of time because I don't answer it really. Henderson over Gerrard. Henderson isn't a better player than Gerrard, but you could argue he's had a better career at Liverpool. Would Gerrard swap all the domestic trophies he won for a Premier League? I think he would. Thus, Henderson's is better. If you would swap what you've got for what somebody else has, what they have is better in your eyes. When we have this debate, what's it better, Invincibles or a treble? You'd get rid of a treble. You'd get rid of an Invincible for a treble, so you know the treble's better. Do you know what I mean? It just stands to reason. It's not even a debate. Cold, hard facts. Now, Liverpool fans will say Gerrard's the best because, especially local Liverpool fans, because of the affinity. He's one of us. He's from our streets, our schools. Sounds like my brother. You know, it sounds like my dad. Well, it depends your age, right? But yeah, Mo Salah, best ever Liverpool player in the Premier League era. Call in and have your say now. Make sure that like button is being smashed, ladies and gentlemen. We've got KJ backstage that's coming on now. But remember the big stories that we're talking about today. Declan Rice to Chelsea. Julien Laurent thinks that he is top of the priority list this summer for Chelsea. And other reports coming out of Spain that Raphael Varane will certainly leave Real Madrid this summer, and Chelsea are leading the race to sign him ahead of Manchester United and Paris Saint-Germain. First on the show, man like KJ's here. What shirt's he got on? Is it AC Milan or is it Fenerbahce or something? I can't quite see the badge from here. What are you saying, bro?
You guessed it, second time, Fenerbahce.
There we go. There we go.
I can't go to Turkey because I've got both Fenerbahce and Galatasaray shirts, so I have to pick one if I go over there because if I get caught with both, I don't know if I'm coming back to England.
Absolutely. What do you make of the Raphael Varane and Declan Rice news this afternoon, mate?
Why Chelsea gotta go ruin everything, bro? All the time, man, just ruining our plans. Just by this rate, we'll be left with nothing. Man United in for Varane, Chelsea in for Varane. Man United. Well, this one's different because Chelsea were in for Declan Rice. They gave up. Man United started to go in for him, and now they're back. And it's just like, go away, man. Go away. You don't need these man. But if they do sign them both, it is a very difficult season for anyone who isn't Man City against this Chelsea team because showing that defensive midfield area and showing up that defensive line even more. Flipping out, man. Like, you just about get through them as it is now, let alone with a world-class Varane and a very, very good Declan Rice in their team too. I just hope it's all true. No, not true. So I hope it's all not true. And somehow they end up with none of them. But as I said, Chelsea are back. Roman's ready to play. We've got to be in for another transfer window dominated by Chelsea.
Yeah, when you say it like that, it's quite painful. There's no doubt about it whatsoever. It really, really is. You just think, big respect to Chelsea is what Twisted says.
Well, in terms of like them going out there trying to get their business done, sure, isn't it?
Yeah, you just can't deny it. Like, they're out there getting their business done early, improving on what they've got, showing everybody how it's meant to be done. There's no doubt about it whatsoever. We're going to go to some more calls here. We're going to get Tom on first. Tom, what you saying, mate?
This news is Varane and Declan Rice to Chelsea. How right? So I don't class Arsenal and Tottenham right now in this upper echelon of clubs. I think they've done too much too recently to fall down. So I'm classing Liverpool, Chelsea, City and United as the top four in the Premier League at the minute. And yet, out of all them clubs, in the space of 2 years, we've went backwards. All the others have went forwards. How How does that make sense? We've had the most success in that time. We've had a Premier League and a Champions League, and if we are the worst team at the minute, with no guarantee of improvement. Chelsea have went in the space of 2 years from an attack of Abraham, Pedro, and Willian to a fire and Mason Mount, Timo Werner, and Kai Havertz, who are all starting to hit a bit of form. The defence, if they can get Varane and Declan Rice in, is so much better than then. City have got Ruben Diaz. United, Fernandes is arguably the best player in the league at the minute on form. And we can't buy a goal. But we went into the season as one of the best teams. I'm just struggling to see how we've fallen off this quickly. And you can only point it at one person. John W. Henry. Look at all the other owners of them clubs. I know the Glazers are awful, but they have spent a fair bit of money.
Yeah, listen, we're not doing this today. We're not doing this today. Don't talk about these pagans like they've done something good. Please. Talk about Varane, talk about Declan Rice, talk about Liverpool. You ain't chat about these pagans in such a way today. I'm sorry, my brother.
It's just how it is, isn't it? Like this always happens with Liverpool. We hit a bit of success and we get complacent and we sit there and we're too nostalgic. And they're signing Declan Rice. He'd be perfect for us. But we're sat there going, "No, Gini Wijnaldum will come good." Do you not remember this game against Barcelona off the bench? Who needs Declan Rice?
Yo, Terry, look at the pain that Chelsea inflicted on us again. You know what I'm saying? This isn't the first time. Hazard inflicted pain. Willian inflicted pain. Who else did they steal? They stole. Well, we were supposed to get Pedro. They stole Pedro. You know what I'm saying? Like, these man come in, take what they want, and it's frustrating, and it just all causes pain for everyone else, man.
I mean, they did it 6-7 years ago with us and Willian. I watched a Willian compilation from Angie Makalake. I can't remember the quality of it. I'd hype myself up, and then Chelsea coming and nick him.
He was on the medical bench for Spurs as well. So like, this is what I mean. Like,
it's crazy.
Chelsea,
it's crazy, really, man. Chelsea just get their business done, and they're very good at doing it. And for me, it isn't Chelsea that frustrates me. It's us not being run in the same way. And to answer your point, Tom, the reason you've fallen behind is because you haven't invested, and the way Jurgen Klopp plays is very intense. So people burn out.
Sustainable.
Yeah, it's that. Well, it's sustainable for the short to medium term, but when you start moving to the 5th year, the 6th year, the 7th year, there needs to either be a change in style, or there needs to be the reinvestment. And the problem that you have is that when you raise the standards up to here, nobody has the patience to drop down to this level again to build up over a 2 or 3 year period. So you have bought players in at like 20 to 30 million pound, developed them and unearthed their brilliance, and now they're worth 120 million. But to replace them almost instantly, you've got to spend big money. And there's no Liverpool fan that sound like they should find the next Mo Salah and Mane for 25, 30 million from Southampton and Fiorentina respectively, and build them up over a few years. No, Liverpool fans want someone that's going to come in and replace those people at their peak straight away.
That's the level we're at now. We've won the Premier League. We're supposed to be at that upper level. We cannot keep gambling on unearthing these gems, because eventually it's not going to happen.
No,
I've seen Liverpool linked to Jadon Sancho, and it makes me feel ill. I'm telling you, United are losing out on all their targets, bro.
They may very well do. Just a quick question for you, Tom. If Chelsea do sign Rice, Varane, and a top-class striker, let's just say a hard game, do you see him
winning for the title again?
Yeah.
Like, Varane, I will admit I haven't seen much of him, but you don't go and win 4 Champions Leagues in a row and a World Cup by being average. That doesn't happen. Declan Rice is immense. He's shown it this season. He's ran how many games from that position. And the difference between what we do, what United do, and what Chelsea do is Chelsea know where they have to improve, and they get it done. They're ruthless with it. If they have a player who comes in and he isn't good straight away, there's no second chances. It's, you were crap, get out, we're getting someone else in. That's how you're supposed to run at this top level, and it's something that we haven't done. And Chelsea are going to challenge. Chelsea can beat Man City. They've shown it this season under Tuchel. If they can get this Varane, this Rice deal, and a top-class striker over the line, where's their weakness? Playing as they are.
There isn't one as it stands, and no one can point one out, really. There's no doubt about it. We're going to go to some more calls. We've got Tariq here who says Chelsea owners want success. FSG don't care. FSG out. Drifty's agent again says the only way we can truly evolve into elite clubs is if Klopp gets new coaching staff and if the owners leave, as per simple as that. It's going to be an interesting one for Liverpool next year as well. I mean, a lot of people I think they'll bounce back, but the talking point will be, what if they don't? Chelsea, though, you're looking like you're going to sign some serious players. We're going to go to some more calls here. Man like Prime is with us. Prime, what you saying, mate?
If we can fix our goal scoring problem for next season, so whether that's buying Haaland or Kane or Lukaku, or everything clicks for Werner next season and he starts firing, we're gonna be a very scary opposition. Declan Rice, amazing. That adds quality and depth to our midfielder pivot position, which is something we desperately need, because Kante, as amazing as he is, he just can't stay fit. And I don't want to solely have Jorginho and Kovacic, because Mason Mount is not mature enough and experienced enough to be playing in a pivot. And
you sacrifice Mason Mount's best attribute to the pivot. That's the thing. He's better off in that attacking front. You can't put him back there.
Gilmore, he's talented, but he's also very young, and I don't want to have to force him in due to injuries when he's not ready.
I hear you on that. But if you sign those players, so if you get a top quality striker, Raphael Varane and Declan Rice, there can be no excuses. You need a full-on title charge, deep into the Champions League, and a very high win percentage next year, right? There'll be no excuses.
Yeah, absolutely no excuses. Minimum, we have to be in the title race up until the final day, or the final 3 days of the season, or 3 games of the season, I should say. But there's no excuses.
No, I hear you on that. And what Neek's put an interesting comment in a few moments ago. He said in the summer, Chelsea fans were having a pop at the Declan Rice link, saying that Lampard only wanted him because he's English. Do you think people have that same energy this summer?
No, because people have really opened their eyes. I wanted Declan Rice in the summer, but again, Neeks is right because of the whole English thing. But because everyone else is also talking about him, I think Pep has spoken about him and has been somewhat linked to Man City. Man United fans want him. Like, you can see how great and how important he is to both West Ham and to England when he plays. So there is no anyone who's going to come out and say Declan Rice is not good. You have to actually back up what you're saying. And there are stats, and there's eye tests, there's games to prove how important Declan Rice is to West Ham. While he's been injured, while he's been injured these last few games, though West Ham have been scoring goals, they've been so leaky defensively because they don't have Declan Rice in that team.
I don't think people, Chelsea fans, I don't think they will change their tune just because they've opened their eyes to Declan Rice and he's amazing. I genuinely think it's because it's Tuchel that wants him.
Yeah. Well.
And because Tuchel wants him, they're going to want him because they like Tuchel. And he's also not English. When a foreign manager wants an English player, it's, this player is sick. We can see what he wants. Whenever it's a British manager or an Ollie who wants English players, he only wants them because he's British. You know what I mean? It's not even that good. So I just personally believe, I don't generally think people's ideas of Rice has changed. I just think because Tuchel wants them, that's why they're going to be like all aboard for it. Just those mini agendas.
Rice suffered because he was good. I think he is good mates with Mason Mount, and last year a lot of Chelsea fans seem to have an agenda against Mason Mount, and there's this whole Mason Mount, Gareth Southgate, Frank Lampard, they all love each other sort of thing, and I think Rice was sort of caught in the crossfire there. purely for being a friend.
I think all the things you've said are right. On top of that, sometimes if people don't know how to critique a player, when you're Declan Rice and you're an English player, it just becomes just overhyped English player. It's just basically code for I've got no idea how to say why he's a bad player. I've got nothing technical to say, but nothing footballing based to say. So I'm just going to pull on an immutable, and it's an immutable that you can attack that no one really cares about. So you just throw it out there and it catches fire all the time. There's no doubt.
The thing is this. Sorry.
The thing is this.
Chelsea fans, whether or not whoever we're linked with this summer, whether or not you personally like the player or not, or agree with him or not. So if we buy Lukaku, but you don't really like him because apparently he doesn't have the first touch or whatever, or if we're linked to Varane, but if we end up buying Jimenez, a defender I don't really like, or if we buy Declan Rice, someone you guys don't like, take away your own personal bias and preference and just trust in Tuchel that he's going to end up doing what's best for the team. Look at Pep at City. People for 2-3 years now have been screaming, just play Phil Foden, just play Phil Foden. But look how he has nurtured and developed him, and now Foden is probably the best player in the league this season, or one of the best players in the league this season. So just trust that Tuchel knows what he's doing, and get on the board. Get on the board to back Tuchel, no matter who the player is.
I hear you on that. Prime, thank you for coming on, mate, and having your say. Really appreciate that, bro. Top man. Next up on the show, Lamin is here with us. Lamin, Declan Rice, and Raphael Varane to Chelsea. Give me your views.
All I'm going to say is, if we get all of our targets that we are linked with, the expectations for Tuchel next year will be going through the roof. Like, it's not good enough getting top 4. It's either we have to be top 2, challenging for City. And not only that, with all of these players, because now that we've made it to this last 4 of the Champions League, that expectation is going to be there again for next year to be at least in the semi-finals or finals of next year, just because on the amount of money that was spent at Chelsea. This is not... The money at Chelsea doesn't come without pressure. It's good that we're spending, but the fans' expectation is going to rise and the owners' expectation is also going to rise. I personally don't think we need all of these players. I think the squad is about 80% there. I just want a striker. Just give me a goal scorer. I just want someone who can finish their dinner, really. But I'll take Declan Rice. I mean, if Varane is available, I'll take him too. And if Haaland or Kane or Lukaku is available, I can take them too. So we're doing our business, and I'm very happy about it, really.
Look at him smiling.
Smiling. I'm just chilling, loving life, really. I trust my club to make the right decision. So I'm like,
imagine 30 goals.
It must be nice.
It's lovely. It's so great, really. Every time we link with a player, it's not a dead ball. I'm like, yeah, man. I trust us to make the right decision. It's like Tuchel said, I trust my club to make the right decision. So I'm just like, yeah. So I'm loving it, really. So I'm not. One thing I would say though,
I don't want any more happiness. Get the hell out of here, man. Get the hell out. I don't want no more happiness on this stream today.
Oh man. I just, you know what it's like, yeah. When I look up United, Arsenal, and Liverpool, it's like when the Titanic is sinking, and like you get those that are in the boat and that are getting away, and I look over that side, and it's like, oh, it's a madness going over there. I'm like, I'm glad we're not run like that, but yeah.
Right, where I used to live in Leytonstone, there's a place called Wanstead Flats, and as a kid, there was tower blocks that were called Wanstead Flats, but Wanstead Flats were actually the playing fields. It was all the same postcode. One side of the playing fields was Leytonstone, right by Cattle Estate, where it was dangerous. Madnesses were going on every day, bruv. Like, if you watch things like Top Boy, that was just what it was like. Yeah. You walked 20, 30 yards across this green, you come out the other side onto another pavement, and it was like being in Beverly Hills. Stockbrokers and plastic surgeons, all the rich kids lived there. And that's how I feel like the football season is. I'm standing now in the middle of Wanstead Flats. Over there's a madness going on. And then over there, there's like clubs being run perfectly with all nice cars, the nice house, double glazing. They're in proper Sunday dinners, not Aunt Bessie's. Do you know what I mean? I'm sort of looking at it thinking, that's where we are right now. Man United and Chelsea are like living these completely opposite lives. But we're like so close to each other. It's just annoying, annoying me, bruv. It's crazy. crazy. Lamin, thank you for coming on the show and having your say.
No worries.
Don't it make you sick, gentlemen, how happy Chelsea fans are? Like, legitimately.
It's sick to my stomach, man. I feel ill. Every time I see a headline that Chelsea are in for a player, I'm just like, piss off, man. I can't be dealing with it, man. Like, we are here we have to deal with the pagans, and then we have to deal with like the internal battle about Ollie in, Ollie out, and then we have to deal with the players that we have in our squad that aren't good enough. These men are out here saying, oh, we've got a manager we love, we've got players that we like, and we know the dead would get sold, and we've got our owner that we love. That literally, they're forgiving this man. They've been praising this man for leaving the Super League when he was the one who put them in the first place. You know how much love you have to have for someone for them to do something ridiculous, and then as soon as they rectify it, you love them straight away. It's ridiculous. It makes you feel ill. I am so annoyed right now that Chelsea fans are happy, man.
There's Chelsea fans even saying they don't even need some of the players to link with.
I know.
I don't want a Lukaku. Oh my God, what I'd do for a 30-goal a season striker back at my club. And they're sat there going, no, we don't need one.
Do you know, it's mad,
How
right?
they rebuilded so quickly is ridiculous.
Like, Jan said it last night, and she almost like corrected herself straight away. She was like, yeah, she was like, yeah, I mean, she said something along the lines of, we're only going to win a Prem. She was thinking before the League Cup final, if we lose this, we may end up only winning a Prem this year. I would have loved to have won the Carling Cup yesterday or the Carabao Cup, League Cup. That would make me happy. It's just interesting when you stop dining on that elite table, when you stop winning what you win, all the little things bother you. Look at Liverpool, bro. Like, and you know this one.
In the space of a year, I went from being gutted that we didn't win a double because we were that good to now, let's hope Chelsea and West Ham drop points so we can sneak into top four.
I know, it's mad. Life comes at you fast. I mean, it was only like 13 months ago, Liverpool fans were talking about an invincible treble. Like, that was literally a talking point. And now I really hope West Ham and Everton drop points. Like, the world changes so quickly. Super chat here says, if Haaland would cost 150 mil, gigantic wages, and Chelsea instead want to get Lukaku and Varane for the same fee, if not a little more, I would choose the latter. And I
disagree.
You disagree?
I'd go for Haaland because Lukaku and Varane, they're not old, but they are getting on a bit. Haaland's a 10-year investment. If he's at Chelsea, there's not many clubs bigger than Chelsea. There's a good chance you can hold on to him. That's a 10-year investment where he's only going to get better. And if he becomes the best player in the world at Chelsea, imagine the talent they could attract there. That whoever gets Haaland can set themselves up for a dynasty. That's the level of player he is.
I hear you. Man like Kai is in the comments. I'd love Kai, come on, please.
All right, come back on, Kai. I haven't seen you in ages, man. Come on.
Because Kai's comment here made me, I miss Kai, right? He said here, Liverpool have already won the Premiership once. Calm down. I love it. Historical Leicester vibes. By the way, thank you, Shane, for becoming a legendary member of the Football Terrace. Viewers, please hit that like and that share button right about now. I'm actually looking forward to the preview later because obviously we'll get onto the Premier League Hall of Fame conversation a little bit later as well.
We don't have a leg to stand on in that, do we? Our best player never won a Premier League.
It's mad. Again, yeah, it's true. But I said this all along, that what you'll find, the Premier League are not stupid. For marketing purposes, it should be primarily Man United and Chelsea players that are the initial inductees and a sprinkling of Arsenal. Because I think the retirement date puts too many of the City players out of scope at the moment.
Yeah.
But they won't. They will throw in, Letitia will get in there pretty quickly, I think. They'll pick players from other clubs to get them in because they want all clubs to have a vested interest in wanting to listen to it, watch it, and understand what's going on. If they just kept on picking the players that were at the top of the list. And I think Thierry and Shiri going in is fine. If it was then just all things being well, it was Giggs and then Scholes and then Neville and then Terry and then Lampard and then Carrick and then Rooney. They just went like that. All the other clubs would switch off and stop listening to and watching it. And from a marketing point of view, you want everybody to feel like they're going to get someone in that list pretty soon. And you probably find when you look at the first 20 inductees, it should be about 90% Man United and Chelsea. It won't be. It'll be less than 50% because they'll spread it around. It's obvious what they're gonna do. It's gonna feel like back in the 90s when it always seemed like they used to give like player of the year to someone that wasn't in the team that won the league. Just seemed like they did that as a way of, let's get someone else interested in these awards and whatnot. Giggs can't go. I know Giggs can't go in right now. I know he can't go in right now. I'm not saying that. And Roy Keane, I mean, that name hasn't even come up today. Like imagine if Steven Gerrard goes into it before Roy Keane or Lampard or Scholes. I'm never taking it seriously ever, and that isn't because it's great.
It will be so ridiculous that happens. But then again, my Roy Keane agenda will be fed a little bit more. So you know what, I'm here for it.
I mean, I could argue all day that Gerrard deserves to get in, but not for the first couple of inductees because they're supposed to be the marquee ones. These are the ones that are supposed to draw you in. These have to be the big time Premier League players.
No, absolutely. Thank you very much for becoming a member there.
That's Callum.
I know it's Callum's picture. I know. Kai says here, Terry, what did I say about Liverpool not getting top 4 and City winning? Do you know what's mad? Kai did predict that, and we will be revealing in one of the last shows before the end of the season. We'll go through everybody's predictions and see how they turned out, signings of the season, flops of the season, where teams would finish. And I remember Kai, so many people got shit for saying Liverpool would finish outside the top 4 and proven absolutely right, I suppose. Almost.
Terry, you know what? You know what's mad, yeah? Because we did our original predictions and we altered it due to the transfer window ending. And from there, my original prediction in terms of United would have been correct. It would have been correct if
I had it Liverpool first, United second, City third, Chelsea fourth, which isn't too far from where we're actually finishing, give or take a few. And I then I bottled it with our terrible transfer window, and I was like, nah, 7th, we're coming 7th. But I'm pleasantly surprised and happy to be wrong. To hear Terry, who deserves it more, Hazard or Gerrard? Wow, that's a question for later. That is a question for now. It's not for now.
That's a very good question, though.
Hazard. I'm saying.
All right, and no, we'll do it later. We'll do it. We'll rationale
I'm not
later.
going to be on later. I'm not going to be on later. So I'm just.
Okay, if you're not going to be on later, who would you give it to?
I'm saying Hazard, hands down.
Why?
He's actually won the Prem twice. He you know what I'm saying? He literally carried his team. Not only carried them to trophies, bro. You know what I mean? To titles. Stevie G, I get him. Great captain for Liverpool. Great player. But Hall of Fame, give me the title, show me the medals. Oi, I want to quote that dickhead sourness in it. Put your medals on the table.
And you know what's mad? I hope that gets used because Liverpool fans use it to put Pogba down debate. And I love it when people not so much yield on intelligence or morality, but they yield on their brains and they don't think beyond the end of their nose. And they, excuse my language here, but they fuck up every other debate they have after that because they've set down a marker. It's all about medals. Because it is all about medals, then the two people that got picked today shouldn't have even got picked.
Yeah, because Shearer only has one, don't he? And that's like his only major honor.
Yeah, and I'm not sitting here saying you have to win the Prem to get in there, but
I hear you.
You should be towards the bottom of the list, if you know what I'm saying. Like the guest list. In the guest list priority, you are a couple of pages, you know what I'm saying? Like, there you are. Okay, now
can you be the greatest musician of all time with no number 1 hits, no Grammys, no Oscars, like music soundtracks, no no Brits, no Grammys, no Olivier Awards. What are the other, like all the music ones? Imagine never winning a music award or never having a number 1 hit. How could you ever be classed?
The worst part is Gerrard done himself over in that 2013 season because we had our perfect argument to back him up of, all these other great players who've won it had great teams. Steven Gerrard had no one else. He's carried the team forward, and then Chelsea had to happen. And the one argument we had for them died.
Well, this will be my last thing on it because we've got other things to talk about, and plus you're going to save it for later. One of the arguments is as well, name me a Premier League great who has cost his team the only chance of winning the Premier League with him. I'm just gonna
There we go. Super chat here says, under FSG, we have been buying cheap injury-prone players. Sell to buy don't work. We have cheap billionaires. This is where they're at fault, and where we are.
Tell you the worst part is the cheap players aren't the injury-prone ones, the expensive ones. Spent 50 million on Keita and like 20 on others who've been perfectly fine. Naby Keita, I think he's had 9 starts as his most in a season. 9.
Slens here says Gerrard wouldn't be invited to the Premier League medal show and tell. And Anderson would get 4 invites. I even think Luke Chadwick would be coming along to that, bruv. Luke Chadwick would be there.
No, we'll send Nico Williams. He's got one. He managed to scrape one at the end of last season.
Thank you very much, Nos, for going. Yeah, I did. That was the hardest bit of commentary I ever had to do because my voice was gone. There we go. Man like Kai in the comments here again says a Liverpool fairy tale run out of gas, back to 7th, where we love them and got used to them in the Premier League era. Good times are back. Do you know what? If Man United went on for a title charge next year and so did Chelsea, and Liverpool was sitting 7th, it would be like sort of
years.
Like the 04 to 2010 era, almost feeling like it's back again. Do you know what I mean? It'd be
even then, though, back then we were challenging for 4th. It would be like 2015.
Yeah,
it'd be like 2015 if you were good.
But I never. Do you know what's mad, right? Barring that 1 year where you pushed us a little bit, I think it was at 09.
08-09, where we lost it by 4 points.
Liverpool just never, barring when we played you, I never really looked at you as threats. It was always Chelsea or Arsenal that I looked at as a threat, and then City. I just never felt that you were serious.
Boy, not gonna lie, that's why I despise Arsenal more than them. Growing up as a kid,
I hear
Liverpool were those cousins that would pop up every now and then at a house party, try to fight you, and you just slap them one time and they go home. You know what I'm saying?
Out between the leg FC. Next on the show, we've got Chelsea fan Abs. Mate, big signings you're linked to. What do you want to say?
Man like Deck is coming to the blue side of London. Makes perfect sense, doesn't it? Following the steps of man like Uncle Frank, the daycare teacher, coming back. It'd be a good move for us. But obviously, the thing is with Declan Rice is that he's a very, very good footballer, and it's more of a case of, are we going to bring him in for now, or are we going to bring him in as the guy who's going to be, a future long-term prospect? Because Kante is aging a bit, Jorginho's also getting on, and Kovacic isn't really a defensive midfield, and Gilmore's not really ready. So it could be a case of we sign Declan Rice, not necessarily to be the guy who's going to come in now and be our mainstay DM, but the guy who can maybe learn under Kante and develop his game further, so he can become one of the best DMs in world football.
Can you not be both?
I get that, but at the same time, the potential 60 to 80 million price tag does not scream player to come in and learn. It screams I start for Chelsea. You're not going to have him on. Well, you shouldn't really be having him on the bench to be playing, to be learning from Kante. Man United fans are screaming about Donny van de Beek being understudy and being on the bench so much, but not getting game time. And he costs 35 million. Imagine playing 60 to 80 for a player to be learning from the bench.
No, but it's not so much learning from the bench thing. It's more a case of he's the guy who's not going to... How do I explain this? It shouldn't be a direct replacement for Kante. It should be someone who plays alongside Kante, so that when Kante eventually leaves, because he's going to leave at some point, he's the guy who can take over to get it. So it's not really...
I get that, but if he's playing alongside him, he's then playing a different role to Kante. You're not going to have Kante and Rice do the same role. You're going to have different roles. So having him next to Kante to then replace Kante in Kante's role, to me personally, just doesn't make any sense. Like, you might as well just switch them in and out if they're going to play the same role.
But it depends, because obviously Kante, the thing is with Kante is that he doesn't just play that DM role, so to say. You've seen him in loads of matches. Even Nasari, he played that more like progressive box-to-box role, which you see Kovacic do. So you could see a case where it's almost Kante reverts back to that role, although it wouldn't make sense because you're getting a bit older now. But I don't know. It's hard to say. Part of me thinks we don't really need Declan Rice because we've got loads of depth in the DM role. Part of me also thinks that the DMs at our club are also aging on a bit. So we may need to go cop someone like Declan Rice or even Zakaria from Borussia Mönchengladbach you know, someone who can be there for the long haul.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, ultimately, it all depends on what Tuchel wants, because Tuchel's got us on this mad run, semi-finals of the Champions League, FA Cup final, top four. He's, you know, as KJ said, he's the breast surgeon, brought the chest back to Chelsea fans. Man, like, what's his name? So, you know, ultimately it comes down to what he wants. If he wants Declan Rice, we should go all out for him. If you don't want him, then just leave it out.
No, I totally hear that, mate. Listen, thank you for coming on and having your say. Top man.
You just sat there saying he wants a £60 million midfielder on the bench. I couldn't even talk. We've got Ox on the bench. I wish I was in Chelsea fans
to Bayern Munich. I don't know if it's a lot of people are messaging now.
Is it confirmed? Well,
people are running in the comments. I don't know if it's actually confirmed.
Well, I know he'd agreed personal terms.
It's done. I mean, it doesn't need to be confirmed. It's done. Like, do you know what I mean? It's one of them deals where it's just over and done with. He will be the Bayern Munich manager, and it's interesting, really. I mean, it's the great thing is about him going there over even at Tottenham is just such a well-run club that I think if you're going to go to a gigantic club, they've got to be a club that's being run well. If he goes to a Man United now, a Tottenham now, an Arsenal, he could fail and it could damage his career forever. Where Bayern Munich, he's got so much more chance of it working. We're going to get the Winter Surfer on now. Andrew's here with us. What are you saying, mate?
Yeah, I love these stories, but I never believe them until I see them on the club website when they're signing the contract next to Marino. So I like them, but those saying we don't need Rice or we got enough in midfield is just not true. That centre midfield is threadbare. Kovacic is out. It's only Jorginho and Kante, and he's not going to trust Billy Gilmour at the moment. That's why he played Mount as a number 6 against West Brom. So we need some depth there. And the guys who were right earlier with Kante, he's managed Kante really well. But if we had more depth there, I don't think Kante would be playing as much, because he's had literally 2 years worth of injuries that are caught up with him. Varane, yeah, I'd love Varane. I'll need someone in there to replace Thiago Silva next year when we rest him as well. I need someone there because, as well as Rudiger and Christensen have done this year, I'd prefer to have someone of Varane's quality. I mean, he's won 4 European Cups and a World Cup. But everyone's right. We need that striker. I take I don't know why people are against it, but I take Lukaku in a heartbeat. I take him back. He's a proven Premier League striker. That's all we need at this moment. That's one of the things we need. If we get him next season or someone like him, then we are very scary next season. Everyone's right. The pressure's on, which is good, but the expectations for the fans and on Thomas Tuchel will be as high as it's been for a very long time, I think.
So have Chelsea fans given up on Werner and Havertz now? Is that experiment done?
But what I'm saying is that Giroud's going. He doesn't like Giroud. He's hardly played. And Tammy, no offense, Tammy, but Tammy's not the quality we're looking for, even to come on. I mean, he only came on at the weekend because West Ham weren't laying a glove on us. That's why he put him on. If we really needed a goal scoring thing, I don't think he would have brought Tammy on at all. Tammy's done at Chelsea, and only because he just doesn't suit him. I mean, he's just not Tuchel's player. He just doesn't fancy him at all.
No, I'll make you right on that. I think he isn't there. We've got a super chat here that says Rice is overrated, just a pound land Rodri. Clearly from a City fan, having a bit of fun there. Do you know what I like about Declan Rice? Declan Rice, for me, can play for any team in the Prem.
Yeah,
he could fit into Chelsea's system, City's system, United system, and do what he's just a very good footballer. Deceptively quick. He's not electric pace, but he's not slouch. He isn't slow. He isn't cumbersome. He's got good technique. He can pass. He can get forward. I actually think in a better team, you'll even see him chip in with a few more goals and stuff like that when there's a bit more opportunity for him to as well. Terry, which club is the face of English football?
Man United. It's Man United.
Oh, there we go. I was going to answer. I didn't need to. So there we go. Thank you. Thanks for helping me out that one.
It would be. I think if they go next 5 years, it's possibly City. Only for this generation.
Yeah, generationally, City in their way there. There is no doubt about it when you ask kids and that. Listen, Andrew, thanks for coming on, mate, and having your say. Really appreciate that, bro. Top man. Next up on the show, Ram's with us. What you saying, Ram?
Yeah, that's just to echo KJ. It is depressing to see another transfer window where Chelsea is just taking all the players. It's not nice. It's not nice at all. And they're getting linked to the likes of Haaland and Varane, and Liverpool are linked to the likes of Pats and Daka. It is not what you like to see as a Liverpool fan. It's just not. It's depressing as hell.
I don't even want to wear that name again. He'll be the next Minamino, for God's sake.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
it is. I mean, if I take my Man United hat off, I love seeing people operate well. I love seeing businesses run well. I love seeing efficiency. But when I put my Man United hat on, it's just pain because it's another big. It's just something else we've got to like this season, right? When we got to about in December sort of time, when we started edging towards and then past Liverpool, it was and Liverpool kept on dropping. I remember when Southampton beat them 1-0, it was like,
oh mate, don't even remind me.
We're in front of City now. Maybe we could win. Sorry, we're in front of Liverpool now, and then City just came like storming in from behind, and they were too good. I feel like next year, this is how I feel what might happen. United will get a little bit better again. City will drop off. Liverpool won't be back, but then Chelsea will just be too good. We can't catch them. That's how it always feels. It's like there's always someone else to get back in front of. That's why we need to be run better. There's no doubt about it at all. Ram, thanks for coming on, mate, and having your say. One of the final calls we're doing, the Donny fan is here, a.k.a. Sam Smith, a.k.a. the Big Dan James. What are you saying?
Hey, yeah, really positive news from my end with John Taylor signing a new deal, so quite happy with that. It's very rare to do a 3-year deal. Look, from this Varane point of view, I mean, if they sign Varane and Rice and get a striker, you might as well just say, Chelsea, you're champions, give them the title, Tuchel's doing business. But you can never trust Man City to not pull something out because let's remind ourselves of something, shall we? Man City were losing a few games in the first half of the season. It's because everyone else was, doing just as bad. But then Man City just came alive in the second half of the season and just destroyed everyone. So, the reason why City have this gap at the top is because they came out at the second half of the season. What Chelsea did was they appointed Tuchel in Lampard's place. Was it the right time to sack Lampard? They'd won the game that Lampard would get sacked for, so you could look on that. But I think Tuchel's brought a nice style of football. And I think if you bring in Rice, you bring in Varane, you bring in a top-class striker, you sell Abraham, you give Billy Gilmore game time, you loan out some of the other Chelsea Youth Academy players, probably 2 of them to us, because we have an idea about loans. But Chelsea, they're in a really strong position to challenge for the title. And I think it's between them and Man City and possibly Liverpool. But I know from a Man U fan's point of view, it's going to be tough to watch, Chelsea and City battling out for the title. And if the Glazers don't do at least the decent thing, and that's buy some world-class players, it won't change my opinion on them. They should still go. But look at Arsenal. They could be getting a takeover by the Spotify guy who's an Arsenal fan. And then the football side of it is being headed up by Henry, Bergkamp, and Vieira. 3 invincibles leading up the football side of things, and the Spotify guy investing in the millions in the boardroom side of things. The rebuild at Arsenal, if that takeover goes through in the summer, Arsenal's rebuild starts right there, right then. So Arsenal, in a couple of years, in a few years, if they bring in the right appointments and bring in the right quality of players, they could be up there challenging for top 4 again and trying to challenge for the title in a few years. You never know how it's going to go. But Manchester United need some investment. But yeah, Terry, big up yourself, big up the terrace, and to give you my usual Donny update, it won't take long. Trust me.
Oh gosh,
I've got some updates on the new managerial situation. We've highlighted our final 8. And apparently the range, we've got people with 1 or 2 jobs on their CV. A couple of them's got international experience, which is nice. So like your Chris Coleman's and your Des Buckingham from New Zealand. And then a trio of youngsters have got new contracts, final stage of contracts for other players. John Taylor's got a new 3-year deal. We never do 3-year deals. It's always 1 year, but very happy with that. And we'll see what happens. We've got Peterborough tomorrow. If they get a point against us, they're up, and we have to just rebuild next season. So we'll see what happens. Rovers till I die, and Arsenal, for now, you're still in our shadow.
I know more about bloody Doncaster than my own club right now.
I know he is. Do you know what he has got encyclopedic knowledge? To be fair, Lengan Sweet here says Man City will get Andre Silva. It's obvious signing. Underrated striker. They may very well do. Listen, everyone that's tuned in, thank you very, very much. I'm happy with the Chelsea news, the United news, and of course the Daily Donny news that we get on this show. I love it, absolutely love it. I did want to ask him about that. Why he's got a bike in his house behind him. I always get weirded out by people that have their bikes in their house. I don't get it.
Hey, some people don't have places to put it, man. Hey, at least he's got a bike.
Oh, I get that. I just find it weird. I don't know why. Even though my dad never let us in the house. We used to leave him outside. I always got nicked as kids. We won't let him in the house. Like, yeah, bringing a bike in the house. All right, Dad. So it always weirds me out. But anyway, everyone who's tuned in, hit that like button, hit that share button, and until next time, take care. Good.